Hello, welcome to the stream. Munchman here. This is just a small, shortish kind of stream. Ooh, I'm not on my camera again. Okay. I went out and bought a what do you call it, folder binder thing. To show it off. I'm going to probably buy a second one. Sorry if I'm peeking the microphone. I'm walking past it while talking. This is not a good idea. There we go. So, this is just showing my collection. This will be a short video, as I said. Just give me a second. Refresh. This one. Excellent. 0 views. Okay. So, yeah. If anyone wants to see where I am up to in this in my collection. Okay, so you might notice that it, if you want to go standard and then foil, or plus. So some of the standard or normal cards are foils in themselves, and the difference is very hard to see. Probably here. Hold on. I've had a moment where I forgot to turn off the main light. My apologies. Glaring everybody out. Alright, there we go. Still a bit glary, but a lot better than it was. It's a little hard to see, but if you look... is this going to work? So if you look, you'll see that the standard card has a black outline. This one, the outline doesn't go on this side, or on both, on either side. So the top is mostly the same. Sometimes the words at the bottom are also in gold. But yeah, generally, I mean, these words aren't in gold here, but we'll get to that. So this is my first page. As you can see, I'm only missing... card 5 on this page. I actually do have a list. Did I just blow the list away? So this is what I've got left to collect. 44 cards to collect. Live chat is unavailable. Don't know what that's about. So yes, I only have 44 cards left to collect. At the bottom I've written the super short printed cards. But yeah, if you are chatting, I'm sorry. What is going on here? Is there a way to refresh this? Refresh. Okay, cool. Chat's back. Don't know if any messages have come through. No, it said chat rate 1 a second ago, so I don't know what that was about. But yeah, anyway, sorry, it's, by the way, it's 12:30 here, if you're wondering. If some people are like, the date is wrong, it's not the 9th. It's like, well, yeah, I'm in Australia, so, you know. So yeah, only missing 1 off the first page. Unfortunately, it gets a little more, yeah, okay. Snooze. Getting the computer telling me crap. So yeah, so these two are foil, and then even with the standard, so this is the standard card, and then the foil, you can sort of see it a bit better there, maybe black line, not black line, so yeah, so missing a few more here, as you can see. So as you can see here, this is a parallel, I think they call it. I just realised this camera is not perfect. Oh, it's not going to be perfect anyway, but yeah, so this is so the plus card is actually a different image altogether. So there's a few of those. In fact, I think this is the only parallel I have. I don't think I have any other parallels. I think they're called parallels anyway. But yeah, so this side, missing a few, getting in. So you'll notice that I have the entire standard collection, standard non-plus one. Me. I'm missing 44 of the plus ones, and this is I'm only going through the monster versus monster the gorilla. This is it's too reflective. That's really the problem. I'm not sure how good this is going to be as a video, but yeah. So, yes, the all the cards so far. So, Jet Jaguar, the plus is a parallel as well, where it's a different image of Jet Jaguar. But yes, is there a way I can center this a bit more? I think that's as good as we're going to get, unfortunately, unless I put it up higher. I guess that's a lot better, isn't it? You can sort of see them all, but of course they're reflecting so much. But yeah, you can see that I start to get a lot more gaps as we go along. But yeah, I don't think I have a complete page. I'm actually, I sort of did this yesterday and then went to bed. There's some stuff that they do with the numbers and letters. There's promotional cards that exist, and they don't affect the base, this stuff that I'm going through, but it does seem to affect the mostly with the rage cards and things like that. There's like cards that you can't get. Same with the starter cards. Starter pack cards. I don't know if I have to buy a bunch of starter packs, which I really don't want to do, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, so again, gaps. Gaps. One of these is a parallel, I think. I think it's the Mothra. I think this Mothra is a parallel, and I think... Hold on, coming back for a sec. I think... I know that one of the images changes. I think that Mothra might be a parallel. The Gigan is a parallel. That's a different one, picture. But yeah, so most of them except for this is the page getting right near the end where, unfortunately, I don't have any of the foils. So yeah, now I'm gonna have to do that. And I do have the last two. So if you've seen Godzilla versus... Actually, it's not Godzilla versus, is it? It's Godzilla King of the Monsters, a 2019 movie. The oxygen destroyer actually is in it. They basically do a simulation of the oxygen destroyer itself on screen, and they're like, we got a weapon that can kill Godzilla, and they kill Godzilla, but it doesn't do anything to King Ghidorah. And then they have to go and save King Ghidorah. It's kind of like funny, because in the original, Dr. Serizawa actually got into the water, and he died killing Godzilla with the oxygen destroyer. Then in the 2019 movie, Dr. Serizawa, a different one obviously, he kills himself with a nuke to actually awaken Godzilla. So these are the this is the -1. So -1 comes first. It's ESD01, I think. Yep. I basically went to the website, went to Bushiroad, and someone said 233 cards, and I said no, there wasn't. I was wrong. I apologize. I was wrong. There is apparently 233 cards. My apologies. I messed up. But yeah, it's all a bit weird. So if you buy the starter pack, you get a couple of foil cards, and you get a couple of foil cards, and then these have the same number. This is the order they're on the website, but their card designation is identical. So and they're both heat ray, and there's two more heat rays. I think they're promotional cards. So I think I have to like do a fucking an event or go to Japan or whatever, or maybe not Japan, but yeah, it's a bit weird. I left a full blank page here just so I could keep it, my OCD, if you will. So, why do you... I go to pat my cat and she meows off like as if I've offended her. I don't know. So these are the Heisei from the Heisei starter deck, and then there's cards that are foil, but I don't know if because the numbers are the same for some of these. Like I'm pretty sure these don't have a plus on them. Yeah, no, there's no plus. It's just a foil, but no plus. Whereas normally a foil is a plus. It's a standard foil, same numbers. So I don't know if these are supposed to be there, and I'm supposed to find am I supposed to find the standard version? I mean, it has the standard outline. That's the thing. It has the black outline, like I said, but so do these. It frustrated me to no end because I do not understand what the rarity is or what Yeah, and it's very hard to find information. So it is frustrating as fuck. But yeah, so this is what you get in the starter deck, and I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The starter deck cards don't come in the booster set, right? They're all unique to the starter deck. Now, I was talking to a guy yesterday at the store. Not the store I bought them from. Nowhere in Adelaide sells these fucking cards, which is annoying me because I have a somewhat good relationship with the company that I'm buying them from, but they just make mistakes and then I have to wait an extra 4 or 5 days, and it just pisses me off. But they're a smallish company, but anyway, yeah. So here's the thing. I found out. So I don't want to get down too much into values of cards. But this one's worth $50. So it's not listed, but all the other. So these are the Rage cards. So there's a standard Rage, foil Rage, and I've got the gold Rage, and there's another. So if I was to get the SS, the one only 100 made one, that would go there. So it's actually no, it wouldn't. Sorry, would it? Hold on. Man, give me a sec. Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it would go there. So it's a gold. It's got like a signature on it. But yes. So that one doesn't seem to have a foil at all. So that one actually comes first, yet on the back of it says Area 8. And this one says Area 1 on the back, Area 2, and so on. So, yeah. In my 44, I haven't actually added these because I don't know how many I'm actually missing. Like, I do, but I don't. The Rage cards aren't so bad. It's the Heisei and -1 starter decks that confuse the shit out of me. So, yeah. All a bit... but yeah, no opening of card packs today, but still. So yeah, so these go down. I think that's the last of the... Oh no, then there's the IO. -1, sorry. IO, it's -1. 1.0. Yeah. So it's interesting. I think that one there is the what you get in the Heisei pack. I don't think they've got numbers. I don't think it's got area written on the back of this one. Hold on. If I remember correctly, it's just got a standard back. Yeah, see, it's got a standard back to it. So yeah, that card there is from the Heisei deck, and because I've gotten the foil as well as the standard, and the same with the -1, I think that's what you always get. Some of these, when I looked them up, they say that they come in the starter deck, and I'm like, okay, so does that mean I have to buy starter decks to get those, to fill out my full collection of foils or whatever? As I said, I saw online, I'm pretty sure I saw this one, like the gold here, which again, they're valued at $50. And I think this one they had the gold. But yes, it's all a little confusing. And I'm 99.9999999% sure I got this from a card pack. I'd have to go back through my footage when I opened up all my card packs and stuff. And I need to find when I got this. Because when I got my first box of cards to open, and I got the 2 starter decks, I don't know if this came out of the starter box. If this came out of the starter set, which it says when you go to the website and you click, it says, oh, this comes out of the starter packs. I'm 99% sure. Don't quote me on that right now. I might have been misremembering, but I'm 99% sure this came out. It says that on the website. However, I think I got this out of a Godzilla vs. Monsters booster box 1. So I think that on the website they've messed it up. I hope that's what they've done. In fact, I'm 99.99999% sure. I have a feeling I got this one and this one together in the same pack. But yeah, so that's my collection so far. So there's a lot of confusion. The website is very so many things repeat, and it just makes me very worried, what it all is. But yeah, not this weekend, but next weekend. Well, I put my order in next weekend, and it takes a week to get here. So not this week, but the week after, I should have another box to open. I'm hoping to finish off at least one page. Because yeah, as I said, I don't think I've finished. I think the first page is the closest I've gotten. Oh, and this one. I need the Biolante Rose form, which is all sorted. But I've sorted through all my foils, all the doubles. I've all put them all in order, and I'm probably going to get a second folder. And then I got to work out, because I don't know what I'm going to do. If I might have to look up if there's any swap sites, which I don't think there's probably going to be any swap sites. I'm probably going to have to something, I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, that's my collection thus far. No one connected up, no views. That's okay. But hopefully, someone will click on this and like, oh, okay, cool. But this is after pretty sure 4 boxes, 4 booster packs have actually gotten me all the cards. If you watched my last stream, there were a few people watching that, and I interacted with some people and stuff. Basically, I got a lot of the cards I needed, like in the first few packs. And by the end of it, I'd finished. I had 9 missing, and then by the end of it, I had them all. And then it was just a case of trying to sort them out. I had like the little boxes, the booster. I don't know what you call them, deck protectors. But that was just getting a bit ungamely. So I'm like, buy a binder, chuck them in there. I'm probably going to get a second one. This is a really good binder, by the way. I don't have anything to compare it to, but I really like it. Some people don't like side load binders, and it does a funny thing. I don't know if all binders that are side load do this, but this one, it side loads. You side load that way and then that way, and then like it's so this side is they're not going to fall out this way from this side, and they're in there pretty good, and they go in with this one's what do you call it? These two are in. They're already in a sleeve, so they're doubly protected, if you will. But yeah, so yeah, that was my collection, and hopefully someone watches, enjoys. As I said, I've got 44 of the base cards missing. Still, give me a second. Oh, here it is. So yeah, these are the ones I'm chasing up. Don't worry about my terrible handwriting. And of course the SSSP-01. So there's actually 45 written on there. This one's the one that I I would love to get, but there's literally only 100 of them. There's 100 of them in the Japanese, and there's 100 of them in the English. And that theoretically means that you have a higher chance of finding it if you're in Japan, I guess. But yeah, so I've got to compete. There's already one on eBay. There might be two on eBay actually, but there was already one on eBay that was £2,000. I think was it 2,000? I can't remember if it had converted. If it converted, then it's 2,000 Australian dollars. But yeah, I'm not going to be buying that. I'm not that rich. But yeah, so this one here, the SSSP-01, I'd love to get it. My hopes are mid. But yeah, as it is, these are all foil cards I need to collect. So base set completed, foil cards to go, and then I need to find out if I have to buy a bunch of starter packs or not to get all the rest, because I really do want to complete my collection, but at what cost? I'm not made of money. I mean, you know, who is, if you will. But yeah, anyway, hope that was entertaining and stuff. I still have two, to anyone who's been paying attention, I've been watching every single Godzilla movie, as well as Mothra of Iran and Baragon? I think it was Baragon. I can't remember now. Rodan. So I've watched 35 movies now. 36. No, wait, there's 39. I've got 2 left. I've watched 37 movies, which is... Oh my god, the quality is so mixed bag. It's not funny. It's just so mixed. It's like, oh my god. But yeah, so I've still got 2 to get through. I've got to finish watching Godzilla vs. Kong, the 2021 movie, which is really struggling with because I'm not big on conspiracy theory bullshit. I don't mind a few conspiracies, but when it's characters that... I know people in real life who just believe every single conspiracy, like the moon landing is fake, fluoride in the water, prohibition was to stop the beer-powered car, all these things, and I can debunk so many of them easily. Like, just quickly, okay, I don't want to get into like debunking all conspiracy theories, but let's go with the beer-powered car. So here's the thing: if you believe that the beer-powered car is prohibition was to stop that. That was the big petrol, right? Prohibition wouldn't have stopped the beer-powered car because during Prohibition, you could totally buy alcohol. Everyone could buy alcohol. You weren't allowed to buy alcohol that could be consumed, right? If you already had alcohol, you could consume it. So people bought as much beer as they could before Prohibition and tried to save it, right? You weren't allowed to produce alcohol to sell it, and you weren't allowed to sell alcohol for consumption. But wood alcohol existed. Wood alcohol, which is basically like rubbing alcohol today, totally existed. It was just poisoned so you couldn't drink it. Now people redistilled it and all the rest of it. If the beer-powered car had been successful, right, they just would have regulated it and added poison to it to stop people from being able to drink the alcohol. So if you've seen the Simpsons episode where Homer's like, 1 for the car, 1 for me, 1 for you, 1 for me, and he's like drinking the alcohol like straight from the, he's basically fueling himself up. That would have technically happened. You would have been able to get petrol, like beer as a petrol. But so that conspiracy theory, which I've only heard a couple of people say it, automatically falls down because all you have to do is 2 minutes of research and you'd find out that alcohol was being sold. I mean, even alcohol for consumption theoretically was being sold because you could go to a pharmacy and get alcohol to treat conditions because alcohol was used for a lot of things. So when people think of Prohibition, they think of this blanket, all alcohol was banned. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was just for consumption, like as a have a beer after a day of work. So this is the problem I have with conspiracy theories. I don't mind that people believe certain things, because there are, keep questioning the government or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, but always be careful. Always be careful of stepping into the realm of everything's a conspiracy. And that's why when I watch Godzilla versus Kong versus Godzilla, whichever way around it is, then you have the two characters, the character from the last movie, the girl, was it Millie Bobby Brown's character, 11 from Emma something, I can't remember anyway, I'm getting all the names mixed up. The point is that she's this full conspiracy, don't drink the tap water and all these sorts of things. And it's just great. That's the one thing that's made me turn it off. The action scene when Kong is battling Godzilla on the boat, that was epic. If you've seen that movie, I'm literally at the point where they've arrived at the Antarctic and they're about to go down into the Earth, the Hollow Earth, and that's where I'm at. But there's other things that are kind of stupid as well. They get access to level 33 or sub-level 33, and there's no guards posted and stuff like that. It's such a movie thing. If you've got a super secret conspiracy thing going on, where are the guards? Where are the cameras? They should have monitoring systems inside that pod to make sure that there isn't anything organic. Because we're going to remember, it's a movie. They're using super technologies, When they entered that pod, it should have detected that there were humans in that pod. Or maybe not, I don't know. It's just on that edge. The Godzilla 2019 movie, King of the Monsters, there's dumb shit in that movie. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely dumb shit. Every Godzilla movie ever made has some element of dumb to a certain extent. I love Godzilla -1. It is a fantastic movie. There are certain aspects of that movie that definitely, they're not dumb actually. It's more movie logic. They get Godzilla and attract him to the exact location where they can wrap this thing around him. And I guess it is wrapped around him. Yeah, it's still hard to believe that they would pull off that plan in real life. But that being said, if you know anything about, when humans went into space and stuff, we do some amazing stuff. But yeah, I loved Godzilla -1. There's definitely elements of -1 that are why did that happen? The MonsterVerse movies, I'm kind of starting to feel the Godzilla 2014 was pretty alright. Dumb stuff there, but mostly works. Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, amazingly not too bad on factual stuff, I guess. Obviously it's still a dumb movie for a lot of reasons. But King of the Monsters was pretty solid. This latest one, as I said, the one I'm watching now, the 2021 movie, Kong versus Godzilla, it's just grating on me. I've literally made it halfway through the movie. I'm at the scene, as I said, where they've just rocked up in Antarctica and are about to go through the Hollow Earth, and I'm just oh my god, I got it. I've only got 2 movies left out of 39 movies. I've watched 39 movies. 3 of them don't include Godzilla, but there's 36 movies. 6 American movies, 7 American movies, I should say, and which includes Kong Skull Island, and then 29 Japanese movies, ranging from the 1950s all the way through. I've seen so much different quality for each movie. Some movies are just absolutely just comical, fun, silly. I don't know if you've seen the Godzilla when he does the they say it's a drop kick, fly kick when he's flying on his back to kick Mechagodzilla. Stuff like that. When they go to space to fight to the Exalians to fight Ghidorah on Planet X. Godzilla does the funny jump. If you've seen the meme where he jumps in the air and he does like a taunt. I've seen some stupid shit. But it's like I'm at this point now where it's like I can always kind of in the back of my mind say, yeah, but it's the 60s, it's the 70s, and I shouldn't forgive it for that stuff, you know? But I do. The latest movies, I'm just like, oh my god, just stop. Just be normal. God, it's crazy to think that in 50 years' time, how people will look back on movies that we love and enjoy today, and we'll probably find them completely stupid and irrelevant. And it's... I mean, you only have to look at... I'll give you one good last example. This will be the end of the video. I'm rambling on. I guess I'm trying to lengthen the video a little bit. There is a scene, like Godzilla 1998. In 1998 Godzilla, right? If you ever watched 1998 Godzilla, you might not know this. Okay, so in the 1950s and 60s, I don't know if they did it into the 70s, but Bikini Atoll was where America tested its nuclear weapons. So I have an American friend who we watched Godzilla 1998. Now, she's older than I am, right? And she couldn't understand. If I didn't explain to her, I said at the start of the movie, I said, oh, the reason that they're showing the French is, remember in the 90s when the French were testing nuclear weapons? And she said, were they? And I go, yeah, Bikini Atoll. And she's like, no, Americans tested weapons at Bikini Atoll in the 1950s. And I said, yes, I know. But later on, in 1990, they did these atomic tests, and it pissed everyone off. Simpsons did an episode where they joked about I think it's I'm 99% sure it's a Treehouse of Horror episode where the French nuke America because America makes fun of them, calls them like, you know, froggy French and stuff like that, and they laugh and their throats puff out like frog throats do. That's a joke on that. So a lot of people have completely forgotten. And as I said, she's older than I am. She didn't grow up with the nukes in Bikini Atoll, but that's what she learned. And then even in her lifetime, when she was live kicking, I feel like I'm the only person who knows. Now I understand. I've watched multiple videos where people have watched Godzilla 1998, and I'm like, they seem confused about the French side of it, because the movie doesn't explain it very well. But it's because in 1998, everyone was talking about how the French were testing nukes in the thing, and there were people talking about, oh, what if the French cause Godzilla or cause, you know, mutant fish and all this sort of stuff. So for me, that's something I've always remembered. But I'm alone. I literally actually sent off a message to some people I knew and said, hey, do you remember in the 90s when the French were testing nukes? And they said, in the 90s, the French have nukes? And I'm like, wow. And then I brought up the Simpsons episode, and multiple people said, oh yeah, I remember that episode. I remember. But all they remembered from that episode wasn't that the French nuked Springfield. All they remember is that most people remember the joke where Homer is being hunted by all the mutants of everyone in the town is like a cannibal mutant. When he gets to his house is still standing, which he's not sure what's going on. And then Marge, Lisa, and Bart are all alive, and Maggie. Because, and he's like, how? And they're like, oh, all the lead paint that we used to paint the house made it into the perfect bomb shelter. And most people remember that joke. And that's it. That's all they remember. They kind of might remember that Moe was like, you know, I'm going to eat you. But then they mix that episode up with the first Treehouse of Horror, where Flanders is like, where the people where they try to raise Snowball, and they basically create like Pet Cemetery, except for like it's all zombies. And Flanders walks out and he says, hey Homer, mind if I peck on your ear? And then Homer shoots him, and Lisa or Bart goes, I can't remember which one it was, goes, Dad, I think it was Bart. Dad, you just shot the zombie Flanders. And he goes, he was a zombie? He's like, he just wanted to shoot Flanders. People mix it up with that episode because, again, it's zombies. So, yeah, if you're watching the 1998 Godzilla movie and you're wondering why all of the French, like, Secret Service guys are there and talking about, trying to fix the mistakes of their government, that's because in the 90s, the French were testing nuclear bombs at Bikini Atoll, and everyone was pissed off with them for doing it. Everyone was angry and upset, and everyone was complaining about it. It was everyone just saying, like, why are the French doing this? They don't need to. There's no reason for it. It seems like it's just posturing. Like, look at us. We've got nukes. We've got enough nukes that we can test them. Lots of different things, and who knows the truth and stuff like that. But it's a piece of history that's like everyone's forgotten about. Another one was talking the other day about. People have a memory of Operation Desert Storm, the first invasion of the Middle East with America. When with Saddam Hussein and all that. But they forget that when Bill Clinton was in, and I think it was 95 or 96, he launched a bunch of cruise missiles into wherever it was, bombed Iraq or wherever it was. I'm pretty sure it was bombing Iraq. So people forget about that. I feel like I'm the only person in the world that remembers that there was this incident where I don't think any ground forces went in, but they just fired missiles to, blow up whoever it was. Just on that note, one last thing, absolutely, I said the last thing a second ago, but if you ever watch the movie Robin Hood Men in Tights, there's a scene near, like, halfway through the movie where Robin Hood fires an arrow with Patriot missile written on the side. And the Patriot missile was a type of cruise missile that I think it came about. I'm not sure if it was basically actually no, because that movie came out in 91 or whenever. Yeah. So in the early 90s, and this is when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, I was born in 84, so if it was like 90s, 91, 92, 93, that period, I would have only been 6, 7, or 8. Maybe 5, maybe 9. But the point is that when that was all happening, everyone was talking about cruise missiles. If you've ever seen, like, this footage and it shows like a concrete wall and a missile goes through it, and then they had like 3 concrete walls set up, and they show like a missile going through it. Those were cruise missiles, and they were talking about how they could penetrate concrete and blow up inside bunkers. And so if Saddam Hussein retreated to his bunker, we'd be able to get him with a bunker buster. Although a bunker buster was actually a different type of missile altogether. I'm not 100% on missiles. I think it was a different missile altogether. I don't know. It's not like I'm some expert on missiles. Fun fact, I have actually seen the shells of missiles in real life. I used to deliver milk to Raytheon, and if you can literally look up Raytheon, by the way. I used to deliver milk, and I was standing in the hallway. They had to wait for a security guard. So a security guard would come and escort me to the fridge to put the milk in the fridge, because if I looked anywhere, so I was like sitting there going like, whew, because I was like hoofing the milk sort of thing, and I happened to sort of look over, and he said, "Where are your eyes?" And I said, "Looking at the milk." And he goes, "Yeah, it is. They are." And I'm thinking, Jesus, if I look too long, I'm going to get detained, And I was like packing. But when I was out in like there was like a area, and they had like a big map. Like, by the way, the public can technically enter this building. There's no guard stopping you from entering the building. You just can't go any further. But there's like a desk, and then a bunch of like the security doors. They're glass doors, which I kind of found funny because there's so much on like don't look at anything. But they are like tempered glass. Like, they're probably bulletproof glass actually. But anyway, so I walked in. I'd walk in and I'd have to wait there for a while, and there'd be other people had to go in and stuff, and they could only let so many visitors into the area. And as I said, I had a guard escort, like a big security dude, like armed and everything. And I'm standing in the hallway sort of thing, and there's these like, you know, the ducks where you have the 3-sized ducks, like where it's a small duck, a medium-sized duck, and a large duck. They had like 3 missiles, like full fucking cruise missiles. And I looked at it and I'm like, are those like to scale? Like, are they real? Like, sort of thing? And the guy said, oh yeah, they've just got no electronics and no like thing. But yeah, those are real shells. Like, they could take those right now, take them in, load them up and fire them, and they'd be a proper missile. And I'm just like, huh. They're kind of smaller and bigger than I assumed. And he said, well, it depends on the payload, really, like, and how far they need to go, and like how much they pack them with fuel or whatever. And I went, oh, okay. Yeah. And I was like, this is pretty trippy. They just got them sitting there, these empty shells, basically, like, on display. Like, as if you're in a showroom. And then they've got, as I said, they had a big map in the middle of the room, and the big map has, like a section of the world. It had, like, Australia, which is where I am, Australia and Asia, like a cut part of Asia, and then America. And it was obviously that, like, the way they'd done it wasn't to scale. Like, they didn't have the entire ocean. They'd kind of just like squashed it together, and it had missiles that represented the Raytheon, like where the Raytheon places were, like on the map. So there was one for like where I am here in Adelaide, and then I think there was one in Sydney or wherever, and then like in the thing. And you can look these things up. You can literally Google them right now. I'm not giving away state secrets. If anyone's out there like, oh my god, it's like, dude, seriously. As I said, you can walk into the building as a person say, oh yeah, I'm lost and I need directions and whatever. But yeah, that building, that was just so trippy walking in there. And I didn't do that all the time. There was actually another driver that would do it. When he went on holiday, I'd often get given that, and I had to go into the sub base, so where they build all the submarines, like the military submarines here in Adelaide, and you know, you drive around in the sub base, and there's all lines on the ground that you have to follow, and you can't deviate off those lines. And like you can obviously deviate if you're doing a turn or whatever, because the lines are like and then like straight across. Like, you can't turn. Like, trucks can turn pretty sharp, but you got to stick into it. You had to have a light and a number, and you'd walk past like a guard, and he'd look at your truck, and he'd pull out his PDA and go dee, and you had to say where you were from, and you had to surrender your phone, you had to surrender any electronics that weren't like required for your job, and you drive in, and like there's propellers and big giant drivetrains and all that. So there were things that I could theoretically take a photo of to, state secrets for the sub base, but realistically speaking, like if you were flying like a drone over the top or whatever, I mean, now they probably have to worry about drones and stuff. This is going back 12, 13 years. But yeah, I'd drive through the sub base to the canteen, drop off the milk and products and everything, had to follow the lines and not deviate at all. And there were lines on, like a coloured line on the ground that I had to follow. You follow the green line or the red line or whatever it is, and that's it. Like, you go in, drop the milk off, get back in your truck, drive back, surrender. Like, you had to take there was a yellow flashing light. You know when you watch police chase movies and they have like the light that they put on the roof? You basically got one of those you have to attach to your truck so that they know that you're an outsider coming in and you're not allowed to deviate from the course. And you follow the yellow line on the ground, go to where you need to go to, and they'll say like building 3 or whatever. So on the ground there's like a big 3 printed on the ground, and that's where you got to turn, drop off the stuff. But yeah, like as I said, no cameras or anything. And there's a funny little story. So the Nippies guy, I said there was going to be the last story a second ago. I think it was the Nippies dude. It was one of the guys delivering juice, and he had one of the first dual SIM phones, right, mobile phones. And what happened is he'd bought a new phone that day. So earlier that day, he picked up his phone, and he had it in his truck. So he surrendered his normal phone, but had the other phone in his truck. And when he got back, someone saw it, and they said, oh, he's got a phone in his truck, and you get in big trouble. I mean, it's a sub-base, military, it's a military installation, you know what I mean? So they took him aside and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, like I just bought it," and he had the receipt and everything. When they looked at it, they didn't look at the instructions. They didn't know about dual SIM phones yet. So when they saw that it had 2 SIM cards, they freaked out. Right? Because they didn't know what it was. And they ripped his phone apart. So it was this brand new phone. It cost him like $1,000. And they dismantled it. Because they thought that it was like a spy device. And they held him for like 4 or 5 hours. And anyway, then someone came in and they said, "Oh no, dual SIM phones, they're like the new, like that's another, that doesn't mean it's a spy phone." And so they gave him back his phone all in pieces. Like, didn't reassemble it for him. And remember, he had broken the rules. Like, you are not allowed to take a phone, especially, and because phones still had cameras in them and stuff. And you're not allowed to take a phone into the sub base. You're not allowed to take, as I said, any electronics that are not part of your job or part of your vehicle or whatever. And they handed it back to him, and he went back to, I think it was Telstra, I think he said. Because I was chatting to him later on. And I said, "What happened with your phone?" And he said, "I took it back to Telstra, and because I'd been a customer for like 10 or 12 years, they did give me a new one." But he said, yeah, they're like, "What happened to your phone?" Like, and he goes, "Oh, it got dismantled by the military guys at the sub base." And the guy looked at him and he said, "You know, just for that, just because that is the most original thing I've ever heard in my life, I would have replaced your phone anyway, but I would have had to get, like, you know, my boss would have had to go at me." But he said, "No, I'll replace it because that's the most unique reason." He said, "We get people come in here and their SIM card gets stuck in, so they dismantle their phone like an idiot and stuff like that, like something, you know, they drop it in water or whatever." And he said, "No, dismantled by the military guys at the sub base. That's one for the book." And yeah, the poor dude, and luckily, as I said, he got it replaced, but it was like $1,000 phone. Back when $1,000 phone was like what today would be a $2,000 phone, you know what I mean? So yeah, he got lucky, but unlucky as well. But yeah, they took his SIM card and they downloaded all of his SIM card and all that. Held him, questioned him. Yeah, I was lucky. I would do my normal run. I would do the women's prison, and I actually left my phone in my pocket once. Same story, actually. I bought a new phone and I had the new one in my pocket. But I had switched over the SIM, so as I was driving out, it rang, and they said, "You've got your phone on you." And they said, "Well, because where I drove into the women's prison, it's only a part of the prison because it's like you have to drive in, sort of thing. I wasn't where the cons were. Even if I took photos of everything, it wouldn't suddenly become a security concern. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to be taking photos of like top secret stuff." But they didn't want people taking photos because you could technically take a photo of a door or something and then plan, like, you know, to break someone out. But I did find it interesting. The women's prison, they have it's a mirror on a wheel, and they're like a wheel, like think of it with a handle, and they would walk around the bottom of the truck. And I was like, "Oh, is that to check?" And they go, "Well, someone could be holding onto the bottom. There's that, but it's for bombs." And I said, "Oh," and they said, "Yeah, because you might have like a distraction bomb, basically. Like you're not a suicide bomb. Like you would pull up and then try to exit or whatever, and then blow it up. And then when everyone goes over there, you try to break someone out." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they'd check the back of my truck to make sure there was no one hiding in the back and stuff like that. But the women's prison was actually like relatively relaxed. But I was chatting with them one day and they said, "Dude, you are so far away from the cons. Like there is 5 levels of security between you and a convict." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "Yeah, like you would have to have a team. You'd have to have a plan. You know, we're not that worried, but you know, we've got to do everything protocol and all the rest of it." But yeah, I did some interesting milk delivery stuff. Delivering the women's prison, and then sometimes to the sub base. There was somewhere else I went to, and I had to surrender my phone, but I can't remember where it is now. But yeah, so, and of course now, with the women's prison, they've completely moved it. Okay, last thing I want to say, a little joke for you. So, I do that on Thursdays. Thursday was often the day I got paid. So, or Wednesday I get paid. So I would go after work to go shopping. And you know when you go up to the checkout in the shop and they're like, "How's your day been?" And I'd get to the checkout and they'd go like, how's your day been? And I go, oh, really good. I got out of prison today. And they'd look at me and they don't know what to say, right? And I go, it's okay. I only went into prison today. It was also really weird. They put me in the women's prison and they're looking at me getting more and more confused. I go, I'm sorry, I'm just screwing with you. I do milk delivery at the women's prison, so I'm not telling a lie, but yeah, I didn't actually go into prison. I just drove in and drove out. But yeah, the women's prison was... Okay, absolute last thing I'm going to say. If you're ever watching a movie and they say, we're going into lockdown, that doesn't mean shit. Okay? I would deliver... So think about this for a second. I would deliver once a week to the women's prison, right? That's 52 deliveries in a year. I got stuck in the women's prison often enough that I can tell you right now, I hate lockdowns. So a lockdown happens if anything is out of the ordinary. So, you know when you watch a movie and they have like a con that's like not... Like, let's say you watch Prison Break or whatever, and a con won't come out of their cell, right? If a con doesn't come out of their cell, they go into lockdown, right? Now, it might be a partial lockdown, it might be a full lockdown, but they definitely lock the entrance and exit. So I'd be going to leave in my truck, and they'd go, sorry, lockdown. So I'd be stuck in the prison for half an hour, who knows, right? Sucked. What's worse is the amount of times they'd open the first gate, I'd drive in, the gate would close, and a lockdown would happen. They don't open the second gate. So I'd be sitting there in my truck, cooking, because I didn't have proper air conditioning. It was just a fan. And I'd be there for like half an hour, cooking my ass off. No one would tell me anything. I didn't even know for the first like 2 years why I was getting locked between gates. And they said, oh yeah, it's when they go into lockdown. And I go, oh, okay. And they said, yeah, it's... And I said, like, what does that mean people are trying to escape? And he goes, no, it could be anything. It could be someone just being aggressive for a moment. They might be having a bad day and they just swear at a guard. They just go into lockdown. It's in movies, they make it look like a lockdown and the riot police show up and all this stuff. That can happen, definitely. In fact, when I played paintball, I actually met the dudes who would go in and sort out riots. They're a special division that's designed to travel anywhere in Adelaide they need to go to take down a riot. That's their entire job. They're on call 365 days a year. So they might have 2 years where they never technically do anything. They do like drills and stuff, but they might never set foot, theoretically, in a prison to do their job because there just never is a riot, you know what I mean? But they're a dedicated unit and they would come out and play paintball on the weekends and stuff like that. There was two divisions sort of thing. One played paintball, the other one they did darts, I think, or something. But the joke of it is yeah, if you're ever watching a movie and they're like, lockdown, lockdown, and they're all going crazy, it's not how it happens. Most of the time it's when a con might be sick. So someone, like, they're like, get out of your bed, con, you know, like, whoever it is, con. Well, they call them cons. By the way, if you're ever in a prison, or you're ever watching a movie, if you want to know how good a movie is, if they refer to the guards as screws, they're being accurate. And I always wondered if the guards were called screws because technically, like, you know, if you oil the screw, then it can open doors, sort of. I know that's not quite right, I know, but I thought it was like, you know, the screws hold the prison together, like, you know, if you screw wood, it holds it together. It's actually because there used to be a torture device called the screws that they would put on your hand and literally screw your fingers down. So that name has just carried on. And so they're like, put them to the screws, or, you know, sort of thing. And so if you're ever watching a movie or TV show or anything like that and they refer to the guards as screws, either someone on set has been to prison, or at the very least is like me, has somehow been involved, most likely, and then knows that that's the nickname for the guards. The guards are screws, and then you have the cons, and yeah, and that's the sort of that's the terminologies that you have. So it's amazing how many TV shows and movies I've watched where they say, "Oh, we're trying to be authentic," and I'm like, but you're not calling them screws. And then you'll watch one movie and they'll call them screws, and I go, that's a movie where they gave a shit, even if the movie's completely ridiculous and makes no sense. But yeah, it is funny that, like, yeah, they're called screws, and you know, I talked with a lot of them and stuff like that, and, you know, some of the stories and stuff that they would tell me were for another video. Some of them are like, they would probably get me banned off of YouTube. Like, you might think, oh yeah, you're doing the women's prison, it wouldn't be that bad. Talking with the Screws, they said, yeah, there was this in Adelaide. There's Yatala, and then down the road is the women's prison. The Yatala is the men's labour prison. I only ever went in there once, I think, when I was a young kid. They did get us to do that, and then they decided that it was too hard, and then they moved it off-site. I was like, I don't know the story. We didn't do Yatala anymore, but yeah, we did the women's prison for many years, and as I said, I would when there's a lockdown, because you'd just be sitting in the office just waiting. And all I'm going to tell you is this. So I'm going to leave you with this last final, and I promise this is actually the end. The weirdest thing I ever heard in my entire life. So I walk in. So I would park my truck in front of the gate that opens up. And I would walk in, and I had to surrender my phone and sign in and tell them who I was, and they would recognize me. And like the first time I did it, they had to get all my details. They had to look at my driver's license, and I think they photocopied my driver's license. But anyway, so they would do that. And then I was in there, and he goes, "Oh, you're going to have to move your truck today because we're waiting for an emergency gynecologist." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. Wait, what did you say?" And he goes, "We're waiting for an emergency gynecologist to show up." And I'm like, "Do I want to know?" And he's like, "Most likely not. I did find out, possibly, not 100% concerned, why one of the convicts needed an emergency gynecologist. It is gross, if you can imagine. And the stories about this one particular woman, if you put what I know in a movie, and by the way, I will say this much, I'm only going by what people told me, so they might be making shit up. But if what they were telling me was true, if I put it in a movie, you'd be like, that's gross. You're just being gross. You're a piece of shit. Like, no one would ever do that. And I'm like, this is the problem. Because these stories were told to me by people who I trust. And, yeah. So, I'll just leave you with the phrase, move your truck, because we've got an emergency gynecologist coming in. I know none of this has anything to do with Godzilla, but I started rambling. This video is long enough. Anyone who showed up at the end, I think someone just came in and they're like, what the fuck did I walk into? I guess you have to watch the full stream. Everyone have fun. And yeah, it won't be this week, but the week after, hopefully, as long as deliveries don't get mixed up or whatever, I'll have another unboxing video, or card opening video. I'm not going to be doing 2 card packs again. That hit my wallet way too hard. I was banking on some money showing up, and then the bank said I don't make enough money or something. I don't know. The bank's fucked. They send me an email. Oh, get a loan with us. I go to get a loan. Oh, we're not going to give you a loan. You don't make enough money. Then why did you send me a fucking email saying get a loan? You fucking knobs. Anyway, I actually asked them about it, and they said, oh, we just send those emails to everyone. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe you can just fuck off with that shit, because it gets my hopes up. You know, like the email doesn't say we're sending this to everyone. I mean, I know this is how emails work, but it's like it says on there, you're eligible. Well, when I go to put in, they go, oh, no, you're not eligible anymore. And by the way, I borrowed $15,000 3 years ago, from the same bank. Hold on, when did my sister die? Yeah, 4 years ago. She died 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. So it was just before that, because I actually had to use my tax return to pay off the loan because I didn't know if I was going to have a job, which I didn't have a job. I used to be carer for my sister, so when I lost my sister, I lost literally my sister and my job on the same day. Pretty fucked. But I'm starting to ramble beyond rambling. You all have fun. Don't work too hard. And I've been Munchman, and as I said, in 2 weeks, I'll do another unboxing, and hopefully I can start knocking off these 44 foils that I need to get. But it seems like it's going to take me a while. And one last update is the October. There's going to be a Booster Box 2 is coming out in October. So if you're looking to get into getting the Godzilla TCG cards, I recommend getting in now, because I don't know how long they do a run. But Godzilla Booster Box 1 is going to be joined by Booster Box 2. I don't know if there's going to be a third release. I have a feeling that they probably won't, because apparently sales are pretty piss poor, but we'll see. They might pick up. Apparently, someone was joking about it the other day. There's like 47 or 48 TCGs that have started in the last 12 months or are starting in this 12-month period. So apparently there's just TCG craziness going on. So that's not helping the matter. And of course the Final Fantasy TCG for Magic, the Final Fantasy Magic cards came out only about 3 weeks before Godzilla TCG, so that did not help. But maybe now things are stabilizing. I think some people, they couldn't get the Magic, so they're getting other ones, so Godzilla's picking up in sales. I hope. But yeah. Anyway, I've said it 5 times now. I've been rambling. This is literally the end. Y'all have fun. And again, don't work too hard. And if you're in Australia, stay dry. If you're in America, stay cool. Or in the rest of the world. Because it's bloody rainy as shit lately down here. And cold as fuck too. Alright, see ya.